Hi folks, welcome. This is the Yoga Wild YouTube channel. My name is Casey. I use the pronoun she, her, and this is a slow flow. This class is going to be a little bit more of a gentle or a grounding slow flow. So if you are looking for something with more effort or exertion, please check out another class in our slow flow playlist. We are coming off of a weekend where across the country there were protests for Black Lives Matter. And there were also looters trying to detract from that message. Many times protesters were met with police violence in different cities. And we have a president that is more interested in inciting violence than being a leader. So if you are feeling heavy, if you're feeling like you've just been working so hard, especially for any Black or POC students that are feeling the emotional labor of educating your communities, your groups on anti-racist work. This class, we're just going to try and take it easy, move with our body, move with our breath. Currently, I'm working through the book, Me and White Supremacy by Layla Saad. So for any white folk watching that are looking for ways what they can do, I highly recommend this book. There's a short passage I wanted to read as we get started. And especially if anti-racism, if any of this work is new to you, Layla says there is no feel-good reward at the end other than the knowledge that you are doing this because it's the right thing to do. You will not be congratulated for it. You won't get any ally cookies for it. You won't be celebrated for it. You will have to learn to wean yourself off the addiction of instant gratification and instead develop a consciousness for doing what is right, even if nobody ever thanks you for it. And we're going to try that on throughout our class. In yoga, there is a concept of yama aparigraha, or non-grasping, non-attachment. So this class has no peak pose, no big fancy transition we're going to learn. So we're just in it for the journey to do the work because the work has to be done. So I'd recommend a couple of blocks. If you have a bolster, that might be nice, or a pillow, even a blanket. And we're going to get started on our backs. So if you have a blanket, maybe see what it would be like to roll it up. And you can set it up kind of horizontal, or if you have a bolster or pillow, we're going to kind of aim for the base of the shoulder blades. And this is just optional. So especially if you're feeling a little heart heavy, this might be a gentle opening. But if it feels too intense, then you can always let it go. So the idea is that you're going to lay back. And again, try to let your blanket, a towel rolled up, anything, target right at the base of your shoulder blades. And you might have to make some adjustments. And then maybe even open your arms wide. If you try that on and you get here and it just doesn't work for you, then please set it aside. If you try it on and it's just really distracting, then just come to your back. But if you lie back and you find a place that you feel a gentle stretch, maybe close your eyes. Your knees could be bent, pointed up, or extend your legs long. And just start to breathe. A wise friend and fellow teacher here in Tacoma, Sona Buchanan, said something to me the other day that really resonated. She said that she has stopped asking people, "How are you?" And instead she's asking, "How is your heart?" So as you lay here, how is your heart? And it could be a lot of things. It could be pained, overwhelmed, heavy. Maybe you've received an outpouring of support and you're feeling seen or heard. And again, that can be any combination of things. But start your practice with a little awareness and attention. How's your heart? We'll be here for about 5 to 7 more breaths. And you can also expand your inquiry and just notice how you're feeling through the rest of your body, where else you might be holding on to tension or exhaustion or fear. Notice if your rhythm of your breath is even between your inhale and exhale. Maybe slow it down. And if you're using a bolster or blanket under your back, take a moment to lift up and try and slide it out. And take just a couple breaths with a nice flat back against your mat. And when you are ready, we'll meet in a comfortable seat, Sukhasana. You could be cross-legged if you'd prefer to sit in a chair. You could roll to your side or rock and roll up. Feel free to reuse your blanket. You might need to fold it up a little differently so it's no longer rolled. Sometimes just having that little extra cushion or height can feel nice as you take a seat. So cross-legged, bring your right shin in front of your left, shin to shin. So your sit bones rooted down, maybe to your mat or the ground or your prop, and your tall spine. Check back in. And then slowly start to add a forward fold. So maybe you just hinge forward an inch or two, and you might feel a lot of sensation outside of your hips. Maybe you start to bring hands or forearms down to your mat. But keep your spine long and try to avoid your sit bones peeling away. So you're staying rooted and grounded. Just a few breaths here. And you might be significantly lower than I am, so if your head or forehead comes down to the ground, that's fine too. And then slowly lift your chest. Inhale, reach both hands up, really stretch up. Exhale, lean to your right. Your right hand can come down as you stretch over. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, lean to your left. Inhale. This time, as you exhale, lean to your right and stay here. So try to stay long through your sides. Keep your chest open. Point your left thumb behind you and stretch over to your right. And you can kind of play with your gaze. Notice if there's any tension in your neck. Inhale, sit back tall. Exhale, lower your hands down. Go ahead and switch the cross of your legs, bringing the opposite shin in front. Take a moment to sit tall, and then add your forward fold. So aparigraha, non-attachment or non-grasping. It's the last yama in Patanjali's 8 limbs of yoga. And the idea is that it's not about the end result, our efforts, our actions, what we're doing in the moment is the priority. And that can be really challenging, especially when you're doing important and necessary work. Slowly lift your chest. Inhale, reach both hands up. Exhale, lean to your left. Inhale. Exhale, lean to your right. Inhale. Exhale, lean to your left and stay here. So again, try to reach your left hand far out, and you could be on a block or something for support. Rooted in your sit bones. That right sit bone might want to peel up, but you're rooted. As you find space through your right side body, and come back to your breath. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale. We'll meet in tabletop, so come to hands and knees. And if you're on a hard surface or your knees tend to be a little tender, then you could always use your blanket or towel for a little padding or support underneath. So know that you have that option as well. And as you come to tabletop, just start to add a little movement. You could sway forward and back, maybe some circles. Try to move a little slower than what feels automatic or usual, especially if you have a regular practice. Make your way into cow pose. So really let your belly button hang down toward your mat. As your tailbone points up, open your chest, point your shoulder points wide, and then lift the crown of your head. Cat pose. Feel a wave from the base of your spine to your mid and then upper back as you tuck your chin in tight to your chest. Now really actively press into your palms. Inhale, back to tabletop. Exhale, child's pose, sink your hips back. Maybe extended child's pose and let your knees come wide. Reach out with your fingertips, spread your fingertips, and then maybe lower your forehead down. In child's pose, Balasana is an opportunity to turn inward physically and mentally. Also keep in mind, anytime during your practice you just want to rest, you can come here. Then inhale, tuck your toes under. You might have to shift forward a little for that to happen. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your hips up and then take a little time to settle in Adho Mukha Svanasana. That could look like lifting your heels up and down, maybe bending one knee then the other. Nod your head yes, shake it no. And if you are living in a tight body today, then maybe take a little wider stance with your feet and maintain a bend in your knees. Actively press into your palms. Try to release anything from your head or neck. We'll link those poses together. Slow breath to slow movement. Inhale, cow pose. Lower your knees. Lift the crown of your head and your tailbone up. Exhale, cat pose. Tuck your chin into your chest, round your back. Inhale, come back tabletop, so think neutral spine. Exhale, child's pose, Balasana, sink your hips back. Inhale, tuck your toes under, prepare to move. Maybe even get a little extra stretch in the soles of your feet. Exhale, downward facing dog, scoop your tailbone up. One breath here. Inhale, cow pose, land your knees soft. Exhale, cat pose. Really feel the wave of your spine as you draw your chin in. Inhale, tabletop, back to neutral. Exhale, child's pose. Press, press, press into your hands as you lower your forehead down. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. One full breath. From downward facing dog, walk your hands in so it's like a short downward facing dog. You're going to add a little twist here, maybe extra stretch through the backs of your legs. So you can keep a bend if you need. Bring your right hand to your left ankle, left shin, left thigh, whatever is accessible, and add a little gentle pull as you start to peek up and under your left armpit. Few breaths here. Notice where you feel space. And then slowly release. Switch sides, press down with your right hand. Bring your left hand to the outside of your right ankle or anywhere along the outside of your leg. You can use a little gentle pull and start to peek up and under your right armpit. With care, lower your left hand down and then just continue to walk your hands to your feet. If you're using a blanket, feel free to just kind of fold it and get it out of the way. We'll meet in a ragdoll at the back of your mat. So you can kind of bend or pulse, maybe sway your hips side to side. Option to box out your arms. Add any movement that might feel nice. Lower your fingertips to your mat. Tuck your chin to your chest with a slight bend in your knees. Slowly come up to stand. Keep your gaze down. And eventually arrive. Standing, mountain pose, Tadasana. Face your palms forward. Really root down in your feet. And you can adjust your stance. Maybe bring feet closer together or keep a little space between. You open your chest, draw your navel up and in. From here, press your palms together at heart center and take a moment to set an intention for your practice, maybe the rest of your day or your week. Option to align it with letting go of attachment, letting go of the need for recognition or thank yous, and just focus on the important work that you are doing. Find what resonates with you. Inhale, fill up. Open mouth, exhale, send it out. Inhale through your nose. Seal your lips. Exhale through your nose. Good. And we're going to take a slow, mindful walk, a little journey from the back of your mat to the top. So maybe scoot your heels back. And I invite you to just be present. There's no hurry. And notice as each part of your foot kind of peels away from your mat. And then notice as each part connects. Feel your back foot peel away and connect. Pay attention to all the little pieces. Feel your weight shift. Know that you don't have to be on a balance beam. Are you breathing? Maybe even close your eyes, as long as you don't have any props in the way. And eventually, we'll arrive standing at the top of your mat. Now really root through your feet. Draw energy up from the earth. Press your palms together as you open your chest. Inhale, reach your hands high. Stand tall. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold. As you bend from the hip creases, hands can come wide or pass through center and fold down. Blocks might be nice to bring the ground up a little higher to you. Maybe take a little time to bend and open. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on blocks or shins or thighs. Find your long spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand tall, Urdhva Hastasana. Root down to reach up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Back to your intention. A couple more rounds like that. Slow breath, slow movement. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, Samastitihi, heart center. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your hands up, stand tall. Exhale, hands to your heart. Pause. Just take a few moments to pay attention what it feels like to move with your breath, to move slow with your breath. Maybe there's resistance to that. There's an urge or an urgency, habit energy to get somewhere. Can you just breathe here? Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. Bend your knees, sink your hips low, lift your chest. Maybe start with hands on hips, and you could always kind of play with variations of your hands. But take a moment to pay attention to what's happening in your spine. So notice if it's coming into more of a cow spine, a big arch. And you could bring your hands to your body and really feel that. Try to draw your navel up and in. And then sink a little deeper into your heels if that serves for today. We're really here to kind of wake up the legs. So If it starts to get intense or a lot of heat or a shake, you can always straighten them and come back in. Airplane arms. Reach your fingertips behind you. So palms face down, thumbs spiral wide, and then draw your shoulder blades together. Your spine is long, neck is long. Sink just a little deeper. Inhale, stand tall. Urdhva Hastasana, reach up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your left foot back, big long stride. Lower your left knee down. And we'll stay in our low lunge for a little bit, so you could kind of bend and move, pulse. Hands could stay grounded on blocks, or you could start to peel your palms up to your front thigh. And notice, a long stride can really help so that you can sink into your hips. Your hips are coming down and forward as you draw your right hip back. Now press in with your right heel, squeeze your inner thighs, and then maybe even add a little bit more lift in your chest. You could reach your hands up. Inhale. Exhale, half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. I really like blocks to start with half splits. So especially if you live in a tight body, you might like having a little support. Straighten your front leg-ish. A little bend in your front knee is perfectly fine, but flex your right toes and then start to fold over your right leg. So if you live in a bendy body and you're wanting more, hands can be on the ground. They could reach past your foot. Or you can just start to add some activity, drawing your right heel back energetically can really kind of amp up this stretch. So many layers. Try to let go of an attachment to having to be super low to your leg or a perfectly straight leg. Find sensation and breathe. Inhale. Exhale, lunge. Bend your front knee. This time pick up your left knee. Base your left hand on your block or your mat. Inhale, open arm twist. So you could start with right hand on your hip, or you could reach your right hand up toward the ceiling. You could kind of bend and pulse, settle in here. Maybe bring your hand to your low back. Notice if your hips are really starting to dip and you're like twisting from your hips. Stay level. Get active in your back leg. Inhale. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Walk your hands to the left side of your mat. You're going to have to adjust your feet a little bit, so that depends on your stance, but point your toes toward the left edge of your mat. Hands can come down. Maybe hands come between your feet. Maybe capture ankles or shins, and if you have blocks for support, that's a nice option too. Try to engage your quads, the front of your thighs, so you feel the backs of your legs start to open. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Exhale, forward fold. Point all 10 toes to the top of your mat, and then step your left foot up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right foot back. So take that long step here, and then lower your right knee down. Take a little time to settle in on this side. Another great quote from Layla Saad from an interview. She says, "The humility is that you, an individual person, aren't going to change the world in a day or even a lifetime. This is so much bigger than you, and at the same time, each person needs to show up." You aren't going to change the world in a day or even a lifetime. But this work, this practice on our mat and off, it has to be done. Sink into your hips, draw your left hip back. Inhale. Exhale, half splits. Take your transition nice and slow as you start to flex your left toes back toward your left shin. And then kind of notice if your left foot is curling or sickling. So think of the ball mound of your left big toe kind of pressing into a pedal or toward the front of your space. Maybe energetically draw your left heel back. Maybe walk your hands forward. So when we let go, focus on the end result of this pose, we can be in sensation, breathe, without potentially harming or straining. Inhale. Exhale, lunge. Bend into your front knee. Lift your right knee. Base your right hand. Inhale, open arm twist. Lift your left hand high. So maybe you stack your wrists. Hands can be, or left hand can be at your hip or at your low back. Start to press in with your right big toe. Sink into your hips. And then twist from your chest. Maybe even gaze up. Inhale. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Crawl your hands toward the right side of your mat. Make any adjustments to your feet, and then fold here. So we've already been in this posture before. Maybe you look for something a little deeper, holding onto calves or ankles. For me, it really helps me kind of find some stability and activation by lifting my toes in a wide-legged forward fold, so you can try that on. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Exhale, forward fold. Point all 10 toes forward, and then step your right foot up. Take a moment in your forward fold. Try to just release to gravity, hang here. Reset. We'll flow through what we know and adding on. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Really sink in, lift your chest. Exhale, airplane arms. Sweep your hands back, strong in your upper back. Inhale, stand tall, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step your left foot back, lower your left knee down. Inhale, lift your chest, maybe reach your hands up. Exhale, half splits. Take your time, shift your hips back. Inhale here. Exhale, lunge, bend your front knee, pick up your left. Inhale, open arm twist, reach your right hand high, strong legs. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. This time, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, turn your heels in, point your toes out as you bend your knees. Sink your hips down. Inhale, lift your chest, goddess squat. Elbows can come wide, about shoulder height. You can add a little pulse, a little movement. Point your tailbone down. Check that your knees are tracking in line with your toes. So especially if you live in a tight body, those knees are going to want to roll in. So spiral your inner thighs up toward the ceiling. As you sink into your tailbone, lift your chest. Inhale, star pose. Press through your heels. Squeeze your inner thighs, squeeze your glutes. Now, feel a little lift from your upper back so you can lift your heart, maybe even gaze up. Inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Point your right toes toward the front of your space. You can make any adjustments to your back foot. And I'm having to get wider in my stance, so you might be experiencing that too. Arms wide like a T. Draw your shoulder blades together. Bend into your front knee. Come back to your breath. How's your heart here? What's your heart rate like? Can you find a little more ease? Hold your legs. Inhale, reverse warrior. Reach your right hand up. Left hand is on your back leg, maybe up at your thigh or past your knee. Just be mindful not to press or put a lot of pressure on the side of your knee. And as you continue to breathe, just like when we were seated earlier, find that big stretch through your side body, but keep your chest open. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Hands come to frame your front foot. And then this is a big step up. So especially if you're in a wide warrior two, taking a couple short steps is perfectly fine. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right foot back. Lower your right knee down. Inhale, lift your chest, maybe reach up. Exhale, half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. Flex your left toes back and fold. Inhale. Exhale, lunge, bend into your front knee. Base your right hand as you pick up your right knee. Inhale, open arm twist, lift your left hand high. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Curl your hands to the right edge of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine. Exhale, bend your knees. So heels come in, toes point out as you sink into your hips. Set your foundation first, then inhale, lift your chest, goddess squat. And if you want to bring your hands to your thighs, take a little movement here, feel free. But keep your chest open, draw your navel up and in so your spine is long. Be mindful of your knees, tracking in line with your toes, and everything's kind of pointing to the side corners of your mat. Inhale, star pose. Press through your heels, squeeze your glutes. So set your foundation first, and then maybe start to feel a little lift in your heart. Spread your 10 fingers wide. Really take up space here. Inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Virabhadrasana two. Point your left toes toward the top of your mat. Adjust your stance. And you can keep your arms wide or bring your hands to your hips at any time. But really feel energetically like you're taking up space even in this posture. Feel your long, slow breath. Commit to this pose. Don't worry about the aesthetic, like if it looks like mine or different than mine, that's perfectly fine. What's happening here? Inhale, reverse warrior. Lift your left hand up. And your gaze can be at the back foot for more of a grounding sensation, or up is a little bit more balanced challenge. But continue to breathe as you feel this big stretch through your right side, rather left side, and then soften your left shoulder. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Step your right foot up. Take a moment, Uttanasana. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, stand tall, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your left foot back. Lower your left knee down. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. Inhale. Exhale, lunge. Pick up your back knee, base your left hand. Inhale, open arm twist. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees, turn your heels in, and toes out. Inhale, goddess squat, lift your chest. Exhale, sink in. Inhale, star pose. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior, reach your right hand up. Exhale, extended side angle. Bring your right forearm to your right thigh or the inside of your knee. Your left hand can be in a half bind or it can reach up toward the ceiling. Blocks might be nice. Just try to avoid collapsing a lot of weight on your prop, the floor, or even your leg. Use your core strength. Spiral your right inner thigh to the sky. Dig in with your right heel and press through the outer part of your left foot. Open your chest. Inhale, lift back up, warrior two, stay here. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right foot back. Lower your right knee down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, half splits. Inhale here. Exhale, lunge. Inhale, open arm twist, left hand high. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees, adjust your feet. You have time to get into these postures. Inhale, lift your chest. Goddess squat, don't feel rushed. Exhale, settle in. Inhale, star. Exhale, warrior two. Turn your left toes forward. Sink in. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. So the last thing we're adding on in this sun bee variation, we'll do a little balancing next. So try to stay in this pose with as much effort as you can. We're here to do the work. Even if your posture is a little bit higher, if you take a rest and come back in. Like, let go of any attachment that it has to look like a certain thing and find your variation. Lots of options with your lifted arm. Press in with your left heel. Squeeze your inner thighs. Use your core strength. Inhale, warrior two, lift. Exhale, forward fold. Hands to your mat. Step your right foot up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, stand tall, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to your heart. Pause here. Nice. We'll play in tree pose, Vrikshasana, and then we'll come to our mats. So balance on your right leg. Bend your left knee, open it to this side, and then place your left foot anywhere on the inseam of your right leg. And then really activate your left glute. Hips are level, long in your spine. Try to find an ease in your shoulders. And you could always use a chair or a wall for support. Take a moment here. We'll be here for a little bit. Try to come back to your breath. If your left foot connects to your right inner thigh, you could find a little press and then meet that press with resistance. Come back to your breath. And if you're having a day where balance is just not your thing, happens to all of us, try to let go of attachment that this posture has to look still and stable or like a statue, and recognize that even the falling out or the messing up is important work. Inhale. Exhale, slowly lower, left foot down. Take a moment, and then switch sides. Balance on your left leg. Bend your right knee and open up. Find placement anywhere along the inseam of your left leg and settle in. This does not have to look the same. If this side feels a little bit less stable, maybe a different variation with your arms. Sometimes arms out wide like a T, like someone balancing on a high wire. That might help offer some stability. You can bring your gaze 6 feet out on the ground in front of you, eye level or slightly above, even up toward the ceiling for more challenge. And breathe. Even if your ankle is wobbling or shaking, you're building strength and mobility and flexibility. There's so much benefit. So let it be about the work, not the outcome. Inhale. Exhale, lower your right foot down. Take a moment standing, come back to your intention, your focus. Recommit here. Inhale, reach your hands high, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, downward facing dog. Your transition, down dog. Take a moment to bend your legs, shake out your hips. Inhale, reach your right heel high. And then try this just for fun. Exhale, slowly lower your left knee down. So kind of like you were coming to tabletop, but with your right heel extended behind you and land soft. Right knee and toes stay pointed down to your mat. Draw your navel up and in. We'll move through a little cow-cat spine. Option to keep your leg extended. And if that's just more work than you want right now, just bring your right knee down. Inhale, cow spine, lift your right heel. Exhale, cat spine. Draw your knee in, round your upper back. Inhale, cow spine. Exhale, cat spine. And you can stay like this, or you could add the left arm for a little more challenge. Inhale, reach your left hand forward. Exhale, tap, elbow to knee. Couple more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Good. Inhale. Point your left heel back. Rather, right heel back. Tuck your left toes under. Try this. Inhale, three-legged dog. Lift your right heel up. Exhale, half pigeon. Bring your right knee wide, behind your right wrist. Crawl your left knee back. Take a moment to settle in. Ekapada Raja Kapotasana. Maybe lift your chest. And as you're ready, you can fold down. If you have a blanket or pillow near you, it can be nice to have some cushion under your chest or your hip. Please know you could always come to your back. Take this supine with figure four legs. Then spend a little time here. Maybe you've spent time in discussion with friends or your community. Maybe you have reached out to friends. Maybe you have attempted a conversation or shared an article and been met with some resistance. Know that on this path, you're going to make mistakes. It's important to listen and learn from those mistakes, but it's also important to keep up the work. Lift your chest. Roll to the outer part of your right hip and sweep your left leg out and around. And however you transition to that pose, your left leg is extended. Right foot doesn't have to be touching, but toward the inside of your left inner thigh. And we're actually going to twist over towards your right knee, or maybe even past first. So you can kind of bring your right hand behind your hips, draw your shoulder blades together, open your chest. You might be feeling a stretch on the inseam of your left leg. Try to find some space, and then we're going to add a side bend. So we did this seated, we did this in reverse warrior, an extended side angle. So focusing on the side body, your left forearm could come to a block or inside your leg as you option to sweep your right hand up and over. And look for space here. So you're breathing through your right side body. Feel the space between your ribs, and you're lifting your ribs away from your right hip. Notice on the underside, though, you're contracting there. So your breath is going to feel different. Inhale, lift your chest. And exhale, adjust so that your chest faces the front of your mat. So now we're going to add a forward fold, like forehead to knee. So twisting your chest more toward your left toes, and then with a long spine, lowering down. Maybe forearms come to the ground or blocks. Maybe you stay lifted. And especially if you live in a tight body, really learning how to listen and finding a point of sensation or stretch, but not strain. And from here, we'll move into a spinal twist seated. So you could point your right knee up toward the ceiling. Keep your right foot on the inseam of your left leg. You could always cross it over your left leg. Option even to tuck your heel in. So many ways your seated twist can look. Kickstand your right fingertips. Inhale, lift your left hand high. Exhale, twist to your right. So option to kind of press your left tricep into your right thigh and use that to kind of open a little bit more. Often, I kind of like more of a hug approach. That adds more of a stretch on the outer part of my hip and leg. So personal preference, but stay tall on your spine and maybe work your gaze over your right shoulder. Come back to center. One more, and then we'll do all of that from the other side. Cross your right shin in front of your left. So similar to how we started, class in a seat. And if you're feeling pretty warmed up and your legs are open, this could look more like fire log, stacking ankle over knee, and sometimes having a little prop in between can be nice. But if you're straining or this just doesn't feel right in your joints, then just find the cross. And then as you're ready, you can start to add a forward fold. And breathe. So especially as we're moving into these longer holds, it can be a different kind of discomfort or challenge. I encourage you to stay with just as much intention and effort in this work as you do in the flow or standing postures. And lift your chest. We'll work our way out, rolling to the outer part of your right hip as you bring your left foot behind, maybe pass through deer. Inhale, reach your right heel high. You could shake it out, circles in your knees. And then downward facing dog. Other side, inhale, lift your left heel high, keep your knees and toes down. First, slowly lower your right knee down. Coming back to that tabletop variation, left heel extended out behind you. Draw your navel up and in to begin. Active, like you're pressing something away with your heel. Then inhale, cow spine, lift your crown of your head and your left heel. Exhale, draw your knee into your chest, cat spine. Inhale, lengthen, lift. Exhale, round. Stay like this. You could reach the right hand forward. And as you exhale, tap elbow to knee. And it's okay to wobble or fall. You can always opt out and keep both hands down. One more. Good. Ground your right hand. Send your left heel back. Tuck your right toes under. Inhale, three-legged dog. Pick your right knee up. Lift your heel high. Exhale, half pigeon. Bring your left knee wide and settle in. So be mindful. Often, back when we used to have group classes in our studio, often I would see students keeping the half pigeon front knee more in the center of the mat. And that's not really doing much, and you might be rolling to the outer part of your hip. So try to be mindful that your knee is wide. Even if you have to stay more lifted, that's fine. You can point your back foot or keep it tucked under as you settle in. And if you live in a bendy body, your left shin is going to look like more parallel to the top of your mat. So if you need more sensation, you can always work that way. And whether you're on your back in supine half pigeon or you're using a prop under your hip or chest, there isn't a better way to do this pose or a right way or the way. It's just paying attention to your body and what you need. It's about the effort, the action in the pose, not the outcome or the aesthetic. Lift your chest, roll to the outer part of your left hip, and sweep your right leg around, however you get there. So that's a kind of wonky transition. Right leg is extended, left foot is on the inseam of the right leg. And take a moment to twist over your left side. Right hand can kind of be support. Open your chest. Get really tall. Then from here, moving into your lateral or side bend, place your right forearm on your right leg, inside, anywhere that kind of works for you. And then you can sweep your left hand up and over. Breathing here. Inhale, lift yourself up. Exhale, turn to face the front of your mat. So little adjustments. So your right heel is more in line. Twist your chest toward your right toes and then add your forward fold as you're ready. Couple more breaths here. Slowly lift your chest. Seated spinal twist. Point your left knee up toward the ceiling. And any placement with your right leg, keep it long. You could tuck it under. Kickstand your left fingertips. Inhale, reach up, so find length. And then exhale, twist. Maybe right tricep, staying long in your spine. Maybe find that hug. Start to work your chin over your left shoulder. And slowly make your way back to center. Sukhasana or fire log. This time your left shin is in front, or stack your ankles over knees. And if it's just really uncomfortable, then take the cross-legged. So that's that practice of not forcing your body into something because you think it should look some way. You're focused on the outcome. Be present in the work. The humility is that you, an individual person, aren't going to change the world in a day or even a lifetime. This is so much bigger than you, and at the same time, each person needs to show up. And slowly lift your chest. We'll make our way out the same way you got in, rolling to your left hip, however you work your right leg back. Inhale. Option to three-legged dog. Shake it out. And eventually we'll meet final downward dog of your practice. Really care about this posture. Pay attention to your breath. Any shifts? How's your heart now? What's your body like? Inhale. Exhale, lower to your knees. So we'll set up for Shavasana, and it could look similar to how we started class. So if you'd like to use a blanket again or a towel and roll it up under your shoulder blades, or you can just lie flat on your back. We'll be here. I'll hold space for a couple of minutes. So maybe that feels like a doable amount of time to try something like this. But Shavasana flat on your back is just as effective. And as you lie back, again, legs can be bent or long. Recognize that you've put in effort, you've put in work, you showed up on your mat, and it's important, necessary work. Now, take this time to let it be. No attachment to the good things or the bad things. Just a peace and an ease in your actions. Bring awareness to your breath. And then bring awareness to your body. Gentle movements, small and slow. You can start to get bigger, maybe even full body stretch. Reach your hands overhead. Inhale. Exhale, make your way to a comfortable seat. So maybe roll to your side. If you're using a prop or support, maybe take a moment to press your low back or your back down, nice and flat. And eventually we'll meet. I invite you to keep your eyes closed or your gaze soft and down. Press your palms together at your heart center. Remember, it's the choices you make that define who you are far more than your abilities. Thank you for choosing to practice your yoga. Lift your thumbs to the center of your forehead. We'll close with one final collective breath. Inhale. Exhale. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Casey. We will place links in the description box for me and white supremacy and other resources that you can check out. If you're watching live, it'll take a few hours before those links are up because I put my kids to bed when I get home. But come back and check them out. Fantastic practice. I highly recommend. Thank you.